Percussion tools like this Theragun here are all the rage right now on the internet and social media. And you know, they're great little tools, but they're not the only thing out there. And the real question is, do you go with a different style of percussion tool, or do you go ahead and make your own for a tenth of the price? I'm gonna look at some of those pros and cons today. The first thing I want to do is clarify what I mean by a percussion massage tool, as opposed to a number of the other massage tools that are out there. Now, there's a lot of cheap and not so cheap oscillating massagers out there. And the biggest difference is a percussion massage, the head of that massage tool is going to be moving in just a simple lateral percussion. Boom, boom, boom style of motion. As opposed to an oscillating massage tool out there will generally just kind of aggregate back and forth, maybe even a little bit more, but it's almost like a oscillating buffer, and you'll see some people using that as a massage tool. And it can be, but neurologically you're going to get very different effects on your nervous system between a percussion action and an oscillating action. And so all of the tools that I'm going to be looking at and discussing today, and all the techniques that I'm going to be showing in further videos, are going to be using a percussion tool, simply because neurologically, from a therapeutic standpoint and a performance standpoint, in my almost 20 years of experience with massage and body work, as well as 15 plus using percussion tools, percussion is the way to go if you're looking for max performance and rehab. So a quick overview of the latest and the greatest is the Theragun. And like I said, this percussion stuff has been around for years, and the Theragun is really a cheap knockoff of something that's been around for 20 plus years, a beautiful percussion tool called the DMS. Picture right here. And wonderful tool. Problem with it was and still is over $2,000. And so when this little Theragun came out, quite a hot ticket. Comes with a nice beautiful carrying case. You got your chargers right here. It was cordless, which is a huge plus. And you get your different adapters. And compared to $2,000 plus, it was a no-brainer. And then you get the Tim Tam and the Hypervolt and a bunch of others now that are coming out and following lead. Why? Because this is a simple design. And as soon as this came out, a lot of people said, you know what that looks like? That looks like a jigsaw with a different adapter. And guess what? They were right. The percussion action of both of these is very similar, and it's very similar to the DMS. And as opposed to $2,000, you are going to spend $500. As opposed to $500, you can spend $50. Check out my other video on how to go ahead and make one of these if this is the direction you decide to go. But don't think that for $50 you're going to get what you were going to get at $500, and at $500 you are going to get at what you could pay for $2,500. They're very different tools with different strengths and weaknesses. And besides just the overall professional look and feel of the Theragun compared to the jigsaw and the carrying case, I mean, I love being able to throw this in here along with a couple of other tools that I like to use for other off-site work that I do with different teams and organizations and people, and have everything there show up with or without a table. Open that up, looks very professional, have everything that I need right there, and then some, and go at it. That's one of the nice things, as opposed to showing up and people go, hey, that looks like my Black & Decker. Guess what it is? What? So that's the first thing, is if you're using this in a professional setting, you may want to go just spend that extra money for liability reasons, as well as just presentation. The look of the Theragun. The Theragun is also nice because the head moves from a holding, and when the other videos, when I show you how to use the jigsaw massager, to work on yourself. The Theragun is much easier. Again, because it's cordless, it's a very nice, well-constructed machine. The downside really is the price. Well, one other thing too is you're gonna notice this head is nice and stable. You've got a nice solid piece here, nice solid, no movement. This isn't going anywhere, right? When you compare that to this jigsaw, it looks very similar, but look, you've got some play. This isn't nice and solid. You also have it's a little more open. So when it comes to dealing with one of the safety things we'll talk about later, loose clothing, long hair, you know, the Theragun is, I don't know if they took that all into account, but it's a much more simple and solid structure design. You can do everything with this that this can do, but in a lot of ways this is going to be easier. So if you have the money, then this might be the way to go. But is it a slam dunk? Okay, so I just told you a bunch of reasons why I love the Theragun. A couple things that I don't like about it. One is the noise. That is a very loud sound. Whether it's on the video but when you're working with somebody in person, it's a very loud sound. And if I'm working with somebody in an area with adjoining rooms, it can be, lack of a better word, a hindrance to my therapeutic use, as well as the people around me. And there's no change in it. It's either on or it's off. You know, and there's a big deal about, you know, the changing of the heads, the nice softness. What I don't like about, well, first, when it comes to softness, if this is too hard or too soft, or I mean, what I should say is if this is too hard, the only adjustment I make is I put a towel over the area that I'm working. And what I don't like about these is I'm working on the general public, and a lot of different sweaty athletes, non-sweaty athletes, sometimes through clothes, sometimes over skin. This is picking up stuff. So yes, I use wipes and bacteria, and I wipe down my stuff after every use. But this is a porous surface as opposed to the head on here, which is solid. So when I'm wiping this all down, I really feel like if there are any germs, that bacteria wipe is getting it. And so the loudness of this, I'm not a big believer. I don't think you need 1,000,001 different heads. And also, yes, it's nice that it's cordless. It makes it easy getting to things, unless you're doing a lot of work. And these batteries, once they get used a lot, they start going down quickly. If you keep it in your car and you're in a cold weather climate like I am here in New England, that has an effect on the batteries as well. So that's why it can be nice when you have a corded option, right? Now, the other thing is there's no variability in the speed. And unlike a lot of people who use these, I don't believe that you're trying to bang or be tough on this muscle. I believe we're manipulating the nervous system. That's where the benefit comes from. So having the ability with the jigsaw to be much quieter. And change the speed, I can get a different effect on the nervous system. So I can be much quieter, I can change the speed, and as I said before, I like that I can wipe down this head, and it's corded, right? So anywhere that I take a little 6 or 8 foot extension cord, I can do what I need to do, and I don't have to worry about batteries. And then the bottom line is simply this. Comes down to price. $500, $50. If I have a problem with this professionally and my jigsaw breaks, I can go to Home Depot, get on Amazon, and I can have one in less than a day or a day for $20. Change the head, have a couple heads laying around, $25, $30 each, and I'm not worried about it. Something goes wrong with the Theragun, we're dealing with an internet company where, you know, you're sending things back and forth. At best, it's going to take a couple of days, most likely a couple of weeks. I can't afford that downtime if I'm planning on use this at the levels that I use it within my practice and in my clinic. So there is that trade-off. Love the Theragun. It's a quality piece of equipment. Doesn't mean, particularly for my clients that want to use something at home, the Black & Decker modified Neuromax here, and again, with that name, Neuromax, I've named mine a Neuromax because that's one of the things I want you to start thinking about. You're manipulating your nervous system. That's what makes these tools effective, not pounding them away. And that's going to become really important when we talk about some safety issues here in a minute. A couple of quick safety things in comparison. As I said, when you're using these, you want to secure or remove any loose clothing, jewelry. Watch out for that long hair, particularly if you're working in that upper back and neck area, so that nothing gets grabbed. The Theragun, again, nice and easy tool. I don't get too worried about it. Nice stable head. A lot more concern, particularly if you're working on this on your own when it comes to using a DIY version here. The first is you're going to notice I've got a lot more play with this. So when you're moving this across the skin, you're going to get some more movement in there, and just be aware of that. Take this slow. You're not going to be moving this really aggressively. You're going to be affecting the mechanics and the structure up here. So take it slow and easy. Again, you don't have to press down. There's no reason to press down, and there's no reason to go fast with this. But also, you can see there's a lot of, I keep the guard on this, but it's still, there's a lot of areas here where, again, loose clothing, jewelry, long hair has the potential to get trapped. Be aware, be smart. As I mentioned at the beginning of this, the Theragun isn't, it's kind of late to the party, if you will. There's been percussion tools around for 20, 30 plus years. A gentleman by the name of Dr. Ed Noble, years ago came out with the Thumper, which was one of the first real percussion tools besides the DMS that gave a good percussion movement. He's since gone on and started another company where he's taken some new designs and come up with the Runnersage as well as his Pro massager tool. Both of these I've been using for 10 plus years, and they've got a place in the percussion massage tool world, and it might be the choice for you depending on what your needs are. The first and the most obvious with the Runnersage is the sound, right? That's something I can come home at night and run in my living room to get some recovery in and not wake up the rest of the house. 10 o'clock at night, I'm not turning that on. The other thing is that this was wonderfully designed to hit all of the muscles that, if as an athlete or just as somebody who's on their feet all day, you can hit very effectively and very easily while you're eating your dinner, watching a movie, at the end of the day, over the course of 10, 20, 30 minutes, you can get your feet, your calves, your hamstrings, your quads, your hips. And as I'll show in some other videos, it's very effective on getting your low back to release as well. So yes, the Runnersage, price-wise, is going to be a whole lot more than a DIY version. But it does have its place, and it's a very effective tool, and it's something that I've been using for years and love it. A number of my clients over the years have purchased them, and it's the right fit. The Pro Massager, from a clinical standpoint, again, nice and quiet, allows me to use it in a variety of places that this might be too loud for. But for you, the general consumer, the weekend athlete, somebody who's going to be doing a lot of self-care, if I had to choose, I would go with a Runnersage first, and then I would pick up and make my own DIY handgun to get some of the smaller parts. I think that would be the way to go. But from a clinical standpoint, I'm glad I have that. Again, it comes in handy, but I think it's a little bit not as effective as a self-care tool, if you will. Okay, so we've got a little history, a little context, as well as some pros and cons of each. Hank, which one should I get? As I answer all my questions, what are your goals and what's your budget, right? If there is no limit to your budget, then hey, buy a runner sage and a Theragun and you've got everything covered. Watch some of my other video playlists on how to use these for self-care and you'll be good to go. If you're on a real hardcore budget and you've got 50 bucks, then hey, recognizing the shortcomings, more of this from a safety standpoint, because this wasn't designed to do what this was, so you are taking some liabilities into your own hands when you use this, but can you get a lot of work done with these? Absolutely. If I didn't think so, I wouldn't make all the videos that I've made showing how to use this as an effective self-care tool. So it really goes down to, like I said, budget and goals. If you are a triathlete that does a lot with their lower body, with the running and the biking, or you're a cyclist or a runner, or my soccer players, my basketball players, lacrosse players that are spending a lot of time on their legs and feet, the runner sage is a great tool to have for your dorm, your office, your home, at the end of the day, to go through a 20-30 minute cool down to get everything to relax. Nothing like a nice hot Epsom salt bath after a long training run, and then 20 minutes with the Percussion runner sage, followed by some light stretching to really get your body set up for that next workout and increasing that recovery. Again, if budget's not a problem, the versatility, the safety, and the ease of using, if you don't mind the sound, the Theragun, because it's cordless, is wonderful. It's something too where if you're somebody that's doing a number of races off-site where you're not going to be able to plug something in, being able to, before a race, get some things loosened up and going, wonderful piece to have as well. Or maybe you're a trainer working with a team on site and you're at a soccer field or somewhere, be able to pop this out and to get some muscles to respond the way that you want. Wonderful. So again, depending on what your goals are, you may want to go with the runner sage, you may want to go with the Theragun. If cost isn't an issue, hey, if you got 50 bucks and you're willing to do a little work, creating your own percussion tool is a wonderful way to go. Bottom line is this: know what your goals are, and remember, it's you committing to learn how to use the tool, you committed to making time to use the tool, that is going to give you the real desired and effects that you want and need. The truth is, with a $3 lacrosse ball, I could get 90% of the effectiveness that I'm going to get with some of this. It's just going to take a little more time and a little more technique to do that. So know what your budget is, know what your goals are, commit to learning how to use that tool, commit to spending a little time to use that tool, and I think you'll be happy with your choice.